This comes from my work. I'm a doctor and I see sick people every day.
Yes.
Talking about their symptoms, and I actually translate everything you're saying into language that I believe is not going to make me sound weird.
Yes.
And I do talk
Thank you very
about
much.
that science... And I have to talk about it in scientific language, otherwise they really think I'm weird. And I just say, look...
Or you're out of your element and you're not accepted by those that you want to be accepted by.
Exactly.
We get it.
So I have to acknowledge that, yes, they are experiencing these symptoms.
Of course they are.
But I say that I talk about a diagnosis is actually not a diagnosis. A diagnosis is a symptom. So it's a symptom. Ask why this may be happening in terms of where is there conflict. I talk about where is there conflict in your life, and that science has shown that joy actually strengthens our immune system and leads to healing. But sometimes, and I do tell them that even though your neurologist and your other doctors have said that this is incurable, there are cases where people have recovered, and it's very hard, not to be accused of other doctors saying you're giving that patient false hope, and I say there's no such thing as false hope. Hope is just opening a window of possibility. And secondly, it's very I don't want the patient to feel that they have caused, in inverted commas, their cancer. So my question is, how can I best serve my patients without making them feel that they're to blame for their illness, empowering them and using language that about 2% of my, 98% of my patients know nothing about being a vibrational being. 2% I can get straight to the point and we're on the same level, and I sort of assess that when I'm speaking to them. But my question is, how do I best serve someone who is in the middle of a life-threatening illness, terrified?
Well, now you've asked two questions that are almost identical.
I know.
Because you're talking about a manifestation that's hard to not notice. Once something is like that, most of what they're feeling is around what is. There's a big difference between standing as a patient in front of a doctor who knows the potential of wellness and one who only knows the probability of the perpetuation of the illness. What you know goes a long, long way. You've laid down tracks before they walked in the door. You've set things in motion before these particular specific patients have even come into your atmosphere. And in many cases, they've been guided to you through the law of attraction, because their inner being knows what they want and what they're looking for. So they're not as far out of whack as you might believe that they are. And so as you know what you know, and don't let them get you to focus so much on what is. There was a word that we wanted to help you by inserting it into a phrase earlier. You used the word joy. It would be helpful if you insert the word consistent joy, because everybody can have a joyful moment, but until you consistently feel that. Now, that's tough, to be consistently joyful about some situations. So use words like distraction that gives you moments of joy, distraction that give you moments of interest.
Gratitude. I tell everyone to practice gratitude as well, wherever they can.
Appreciation is a better vibration. Mm-hmm. Gratitude is usually what you're getting over. Appreciation has no resistance in it. But in any case, encourage them. You could start like this without getting out of whack with your oath to your occupation. You could say to them, you know, I see a lot of people, and the best part about my job is that I know the power of desire, and I get to work with so many people who have desire that is stronger than the majority of people on the planet, because when you know what you don't want, what you do want is heightened, and that is an advantage that most people don't understand. So that's why I love my work so much. Even though you're dealing with stuff you don't want to deal with, there's a desire focused within you too that I like to give my undivided attention to, because if I focus on healing, I get looking at the problem, and I'm not of as much advantage to you as when I focus on where you're headed and where you want to go. And so my favorite scenario is when we get pointed there early on, because I know what your potential is, but I know I can't make you know it. It's like you have to walk in someone's shoes to really know, but I've walked in enough of your shoes, and I've seen enough turns around. In other words, give it to them in a really strong way. I know what can happen here. It can go either way, and it's of your choosing. But if you'll follow my lead, we'll look forward to your recovery, because that is what's natural. That's what every cell of your body is rooting for. That's what every cell of your body will do if you don't get in the way. And you'll be in the way when you're worried, but you won't be in the way when you're interested about something. You'll be in the way when you're discouraged, but you won't be in the way when you're having fun about something. This is going to be an emotional thing that takes place, because I know for sure the way you feel has everything to do with what happens next. And you're not in the hard spot you think you are, because you've launched a desire that is over the moon, and I'm fixated on it. And between me and what you want and your inner resources and the prayers that you're praying, I'm confident that you can move toward what you want. I feel so sure of it. I feel so sure of it. Now, you can't possibly be out of alignment for expressing what you feel. And you say, thank goodness for modern medicine that has given us all of these tools and everything that will work in concert with what you want. In other words, you're not a kook. You're a scientist that understands the physics of this time and place, because there's not a shred of evidence to the contrary anywhere in this universe. And you're expressing it to them in ways that they can hear it. Bite-sized pieces. The most important thing is that you're believing your own talk. That you don't let them talk you into something. You talk them into something from your place of clarity. There wasn't anything that we said that you haven't already said, and there wasn't anything we said that you don't already know.
You just said it so much better.
We practice longer. We know for sure. We also know that the death experience is planned experience in many cases. You got to know your audience, right?
I've seen that too. People choose when they want to pass away.
Yeah. What better thing to do than just get something that takes you out when you're done? It's a lot easier than standing in traffic, really. That makes such a mess.
Thank you. That was really wonderful.
Yeah.